So you just did your speech to our entire school, and what made you want to become a public speaker?
Man, I never really did. It was just one of those weird things that kind of happened. You know how the universe knocks over one domino that kind of leads to the next thing, and then all of a sudden you're doing something you never would have thought was coming. It happened with, I don't know how much detail you want to go into, but when I moved to Topeka and started teaching high school PE, I never saw myself as a high school PE teacher. Again, it was just one of those things that kind of happened, especially after going from teaching in the kindergarten classroom to teaching that. And I saw that there was a bit of a knowledge gap with kids. Man, they could do chemistry, but they had no idea how to change a tire or things like that, you know? And so in my PE class, I just decided, you know what, we're gonna carve out some time every Friday, and I'm gonna give a real world skill to these kids, because every one of these ladies needs to know how to tie a tie if she ends up being a single mom and has a son that's going to the prom, you know? And so taught everybody how to tie ties or how to change tires or how to do whatever. And every week we had something different. The kids responded to it really well. And then it got to where there was a waiting list to get into that class. And then we had a professional development thing where our teachers would teach the other teachers how to do things. And somebody suggested I do one of those. I did it. It went over pretty well. And then every year more and more people started coming to it. And it just kind of snowballed from there. And so and then all of a sudden I found myself on stages holding microphones. So here we are.
Yeah.
And then why do you talk about mental health?
The reason we speak on mental health is basically there's a guy in Topeka that owns this amazing company called Advisors Excel. And they have something like 1,200 employees or something like that. And kind of like they mentioned at the beginning, there's a guy named Josh Jones in Topeka that worked at Advisors Excel that died by suicide. And somehow I connected with Cody, who was really good friends with Josh. And Cody basically heard my story, which I won't go into the details of it, but it coincided with Josh's passing. And basically Cody was like, you know what you should do is you should probably connect with the media and tell this story because it would be helpful for people.
Yeah.
So when I gave that analogy earlier, imagine that secret you're thinking of. If a friend found out about it and told a reporter, that's basically what happened. And so, but obviously I was complicit in the whole thing. And that newspaper story just kind of took off. And then shortly thereafter, Cody was like, you know what? You're really good at speaking. You're really good with kids. Let's put it together. And let's tackle this thing that you've struggled with and that Josh obviously struggled with and that millions and millions of kids struggle with. And maybe we can take it from a different angle. And I think that's why it's been really successful for us so far. Out of all of the schools that we've been to now, 260 some now, talked to over 100,000 kids. I haven't made a single cold call. It hasn't ever been like, hey, can I come to your school?
Yeah.
It's people call us. And it's because I'm sure your principal will go and talk to other principals that he knows, and those people will call it. That's just kind of how it works.
Yeah.
And I think it's working really well because I can do the old, hey, how many of you play a sport? And how many of you, through the speech, I can kind of leave these little breadcrumbs that are like, look, I've done a lot of those things that you have on your goal list.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that didn't stop this from affecting me in my life. And, I think that way a lot of people can find some connection that they otherwise wouldn't have.
Yeah.